We are building a program that we're releasing later this fall. It's called Fraction Nation, and we've been working on it for several years. And I think it's pretty timely. But I think a program on fractions would be timely at any time you would release it. It's particularly timely now because our nation is paying a lot of attention to what are the issues in math education that we want to overcome. And you may have some familiarity with a group called the National Math Advisory Panel, and they issued their final report, and they outlined really the critical foundations for how math education should progress and improve in this country. And the critical foundations are the ones that lead you up to and through algebra. And the three that they highlight are fluency with whole numbers, fluency with fractions, and particular aspects of geometry and measurement. So the program that we're making really hits that second one right at its heart. But again, I think it's slightly ironic because all you need to do is talk to a group of teachers or educators and say, do you think children struggle with fractions? Do you think they need some extra help? What can we do? And they all say, of course, yes. So like most of our programs, we do a lot of research on what the research tells us. And this program is based on these three key points of research of what works. To use a central visual model and move students from their understanding of fractions from their informal understanding. First graders know what 1/2 means. And move it to a more formal understanding so that they can look at a fraction in a symbol form like 17/19 and understand what that represents. And to move from concrete to the abstract, which is a very consistent model in mathematics. The second key piece of the research underlying Fraction Nation is that we're using a lot of resources at our disposal through the use of technology to help students manage their cognitive load. So in a way, we like saying that we're balancing the resources that we provide to the student with the demand that we're asking of the student, the demand that's on the student for the task in front of them. And you'll see some examples of that. I'm going to show you parts of the program, so it won't just be all talking about what it is. I'll be able to show you really what we mean. And the third key piece underlying Fraction Nation is to build fluency, and that's through targeted practice. And ironically, one of the things that the National Math Panel and others tell us are that students who spend most of their life and school careers up until 4th grade counting things, discrete mathematics, worrying about how many, are making a major shift in rational numbers to thinking about how much. It's going from discrete quantity to continuous quantity. And they don't have a lot of time with that. They're often not given a lot of experiences and practice. So the program enables them to build fluency through targeted practice. So what do we cover? What's in the program? 3 foundations of content, of quantity equivalence and addition and subtraction. And these are organized into 9 topics. We include decimals. Decimals are fractions in a different form. So we include and cover those. We make a very central use of the number line and fraction strip model, which is thinking about the continuous quantity of number represented in fraction strips and number lines. The way the program is constructed with a placement assessment that determines one of 2 starting points. Those 9 topics actually are built in a very carefully constructed sequence of 64 lessons. Today we're going to look at lesson 2, so we're going to dive in the early part, but not the first lesson. At the end, there's a final assessment. Now, of course, with all the data inside, you'll be able to see reports to determine how a student's performing. This is a look at the student roadmap. The student is able to track and monitor their own progress in the software. And one of the motivation features in the program is as they move through the 64 lessons, when they pass a lesson through a performance assessment, they get to populate their nation and make a choice about who is populating our nation. You see some small characters on the screen, and those are representing citizens that the students are personalizing in their fractionation software. So the roadmap continues through 9 topics. And fractionation will be on the Scholastic Achievement Manager with all the power that that gives to teachers and students. And so those of you who are familiar with it, you know that it has a lot of powerful features for helping you with data-driven instruction, reports, messages. So fractionation is used by students in settings where they can be in the classroom, be in a computer lab, after school time. But it also contains a lot of powerful tools for the educator, including the reports I mentioned through SAM. The student software is also going to be very friendly to the teacher and allow them to capitalize on the resources in the software and do lesson reviews with students. And in that way, it'll actually be a very interactive whiteboard-friendly program because it's very visual. And of course, a robust teacher's guide to help